Hello, welcome back to the Wuzzy Knitting Podcast. It's been a few weeks since I did my little, I don't know why I was about to put it in quotes, my little podcast, knitting chat, summary, recap, whatever you want to call it, of things I've been doing and working on and yarn I've been acquiring. Yeah, it's been a few weeks, so I do apologize because I think in like my second video I was like, I'm gonna do this every Saturday. But that's not happening. Because I wasn't making stuff really fast enough to do it every week, so now I think it's just gonna be like every few weeks I'll do this and we'll talk about the projects I've finished, the things I'm working on, and the things I've acquired, and probably some other random stuff too. It's September now, which means they're selling Halloween stuff at Target, and I bought a bag of candy corn. And I opened it in like the worst way. So I might be eating that throughout this video. And I went on a trip. I went to a few places. I'm back now. I have been knitting socks. I haven't really been knitting much else. Since I was traveling, I did buy some yarn while I was away, and then I went to Scrap the other day in San Francisco, which is like the big reuse store, and I bought some more yarn there because I like went there to do this video that I thought would be fun, where I like went and found stuff and then made it into other stuff. You'll probably see that on my channel unless I like completely give up on that idea. But I bought a bunch of like the cheap yarn. Like they have, I mean, it's a reuse center. It's like a reuse store, I guess, where people donate things and then they sell it to you for very cheap. And so they have big tubs of yarn. They're like, I'm having a lot of trouble like speaking right now. And they have like big storage containers full of yarn. And sometimes they have more than other times. This time they had like 6 of them, and they were filled with yarn by color, and it's usually like kind of oddballs. Like, actually I have one right here. It's stuff like this, so it's kind of like an oddball. Like, it's usually not a full cake or a full like hank or anything. It's just like leftovers from people's projects, and it's mostly acrylic yarn. I had like bought a bunch of that stuff, and then when I was checking out, the guy at the register was like, hey, did you check out the jewelry and yarn sale we're having? And I was like, no, what's that? And he showed me, he took me to like the back of the store where they had this whole room set up where they were selling fancy yarn that they had, I guess, that had been donated. They had a ton of like fancy, like designer yarn, I guess, like designer and indie yarn, I don't know. But I'll show you what I got during that sale. It was funny because when I checked out with my first purchase from Scrap, it was $10 for like a bag of stuff like this and fabric, and I bought a zipper and buttons and like a bunch of stuff, and it was 10 bucks. And then I went back and I picked out all this fancy yarn, and it was $100, which is actually really good considering what I got, because I got a lot of really good stuff. That would normally be a lot more than what I paid for it, which was really not that much. Let's talk about my finished objects first, because you've probably seen some of them already. Actually, you have probably seen all of them. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think you've seen all of them if you've watched the other videos on my channel. But we'll just do a quick recap. It's still interesting, right? So I have some socks. This is my sock that is finished from my How to Knit a Simple Sock tutorial. That tutorial ended up being way too long. The next sock tutorial I make will be much shorter, and it probably won't include like how to use double points and how to join in the round and stuff like that. But this is from that. I haven't made a second sock yet. I don't know that I'm going to. I might unravel this and make a different sock because I already have a sock like this, and I might want to just utilize this yarn for something else. Some other sock. So this is a single sock, but it is finished. And then I have my socks from week 3 of 52 weeks of socks, the video series that I'm doing on my channel. These are the Gerst socks, I believe. And yeah, there's a whole video about these on my channel. These are for my aunt, and I'm going to mail them, I think probably today or tomorrow. So these are finished. There's 2 of them. See? 2 finished socks. And these are actually used yarn from Scrap. that I had got like maybe a year ago. And so I don't know what it was, but it was just like a space dye, blue, white, kind of gold yarn. And it was, actually, I don't know what the content was, but it was sock weight, so I used it. So these are finished. This pattern was fun. It was fun and it was really simple. It was definitely like the most simple pair of socks that I've made so far in my 52 Weeks of Socks series, but it wasn't very fun for me to knit these because it was mostly knits and purls, and I like the mental stimulation of a harder pattern, like something that involves cables or lace or just something to like keep me on my toes while I'm knitting. Yeah, but this was super cute, and I think this is the caterpillar stitch. Very cute, very easy, and I did the German short rose heel on this one. So yeah, done. And then my last pair of finished socks are the socks that I knit for my uncle. These are from the last sock video that I posted. I think it was week 4. We're only on week 4 and I'm already like forgetting what week we're on. These look very big because they're for my uncle, whose foot size is 10.5. These are the Tributary Socks. They have a heel, so these ones are worked from the toe up. The other ones were also worked from the toe up. These ones were toe up with Judy's Magic Cast on, and you like work the cable stitch and just stockinette for a really long time. That's the cable. It's kind of like, it makes me think of like a topographical map because it's just kind of like raised texture. Like I don't know, when I look at this, I mean, you can see there's a cable pattern running through it. Like, it is a pattern, it's not random cables, but it's not as like, I don't know, it's just a little different than like a traditional cable, and it's giving topographical map vibes to me in the best way, of course. So I did the toe and then stockinette with the cable pattern, and then this one had like a heel increase, so I like increased a ton and then worked wrap and turns to like hoist it up and go into like a slip stitch for the back. Yeah. That is at least how I understood this pattern. I'm still learning socks, so like, yeah, that's what I got from this. It was fun. I liked this one. I liked the cable pattern. It was simple to me. It did require, I think like with cables, with like a really simple cable, it would be just like taking 2 stitches from here and 2 stitches from here and switching their positions to make a twist. This one involved like, you did that, but you also like slipped a stitch from like the original direction and you knit that and then you twisted it, so it was like a tiny bit more complicated. But it was really simple. Like, after I did it the first time, I was like, okay, this makes sense. It's very easy. So yeah, that is my other finished objects. And then the last thing I have to show is also from a video that's on my channel. It's this little vest that I made. I almost said toro, like fish. I used Noro yarn for this little vest. Let me see if just one is enough. So this is the vest. It is from a video on my channel. I use a vintage Noro yarn that I got from like I got it from a yarn store, but it was like from someone's personal stash that they were reselling at the yarn store. So it's very cheap. It was like 15 bucks for a bag of these vintage Noro balls with this like amazing, colorful, kind of like tweedy texture. And then I put these vintage cap buttons on. I don't know if you can see that. I put these little cute vintage cap buttons on. I got these from the, I'm sorry, my nails are super chipped. I was picking the nail polish off when I was waiting backstage. I got these vintage cap buttons from the consignment yarn store in Alameda. I got like 4 or 5 of them for $5, which is pretty good. Buttons are surprisingly expensive. When I was in Seattle, I went to Acorn Street shop. I think it's called Acorn Street Shop, and it's a yarn store, and they had a ton of really cool, it's like cute and cool. They had a ton of really cool buttons, but they were like $5 each. And I didn't really have any projects in mind, or like I didn't have anything that I had already been working on that needed buttons, so I didn't really know like what I would use the buttons for, and they were $5 each, and I would want to get like at least 6 of each, so I didn't buy any because I was like, whoa, that's a lot, in addition to my $30 hand-dyed yarn and my $30 tiny circular needles that I don't like that much. But I'm hoping I will in the future. We're just getting to know each other. So yeah, this is my little vest that I made. Those are all the finished objects that I've finished recently. I'm surprised there's not more, but I guess it's because I've been knitting socks. I'm also wearing my Erica socks today. I will back up and show you my outfit. I just posted a picture of myself wearing this outfit on Instagram, and then I went up to my friend's studio and he was like, "Aw, grandma socks and grandma shoes." And I was like, what? Is my outfit giving grandma? It might be giving like grandma. I was kind of thinking like it was giving like 90s babysitter vibes, and then I put a headband on because I often wear my sunglasses on my head for a long time because I'm kind of using them as a headband. So I just like saw this little tiny headband at Target and I was like, oh, I'll give it a try. So I'm gonna move on to my whips. Oops, there's a needle stuck in that. So when I was away, I just like started knitting all the socks that I plan to knit for my next couple videos, and I was like knitting a sock at a time from like each pair, and then I was gonna go back and like record the process of the second one. So I have a little bit of a sock done here. This is the Linea Sock that will be in one of the next few videos that I post, and I'll just give you a little preview. This is the start of the Linea Sock. And I had gotten yarn from Ritual Dyes in Portland that I started using for this. It's not actually sock yarn. I bought this 2-pack, and it was like a full hank of, I think it's just 100% merino, which is the like ochre color. And then this is sock yarn. This is like actually twisted, and it was a mini hank. So I don't know what this was for. Maybe it wasn't for socks. Maybe it was for like a shawl or something, but I'll have to like look on their website and see. And I'm like a little worried. I'm not sure if I should continue doing this with like just like a merino, but yeah, I don't know if I should continue or if I should like swap it out for actual sock yarn. Like I don't know if it's a good idea to make a full sock out of this. Well, actually maybe it's okay because I'm doing the toe and the heels with actual sock yarn. Although I wonder if they'll get like very fuzzy and like kind of felted. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm pretty sure this is just 100% merino wool, this color. So let me know if I should just stop now and switch to sock yarn for the foot and insole and ankle portion of these socks. Because I don't want to have like, I don't want to waste yarn. Like I could use this yarn for something else too. But yeah, nice colors though. I hope I can make these into socks. They would be so pretty. And this pattern's really cool. So far it has like this big diamond motif, and then, or like you build this diamond with like kind of garter stitch kind of, and then it has these cables. And I think it also has like cables around the ankle, but I obviously haven't gone there yet. And then I was trying to make the most of my time the other day, and so I just knit the toe for the next one while I was standing backstage. So these are just on hold for now while I finish my Una socks. Forgive me, I had to switch to my phone because my camera was like flashing that it was gonna die, and sometimes it lasts for a really long time when it says that, but sometimes it just dies, and I could not stop staring at the little flashing red battery, so I'm sorry if like the volume and everything changed, but let's continue. So I'm working on my Una sock right now, which I mentioned at, I'm like thinking back to like some comments that I got where someone, I think someone commented and they were like, I'm so excited to see the Una sock. Like, did I already show? Okay, whatever. I'm working on the Una sock for, I think, the next sock video that I post, although I know in my last sock video I was like, I have all these socks to knit, so these are all probably gonna come out of order, even though I'm already doing it out of order. This is what I have so far for the Una sock. I'm using this yarn that I got from Acorn Street Shop in Seattle. The brand is Trilogy, and it's from Spokane, Washington. And this yarn is called Plush, and the color is called Oil Slick. And then I'm using this, which I also got. I actually got this in Portland from, I'm sorry, I'm like breaking out like around my mouth from wearing a mask. It's like it really bums me out. I got this in Portland from Starlight Knitting Society. This is Kelborn Woolen's sock yarn, and I just got it for the color because it's a great color. And sometimes I have trouble finding neon colors. So, oh yeah, I talked about this in my how to pack for an 18-hour train ride video. I was like, I know I already talked about this somewhere on my channel. So these are the two yarns. This is what I have so far. I have my ankle, I did my heel yesterday, and now I'm working like the instep, foot, all that good stuff. And I'm gonna do the toe in neon too. So almost done, which means this video will be up on my channel super soon. And I'm really excited for these. I think they're super cute. I'm like really loving the playing with colors now. Oh my god, I cannot stop staring at like my face where I'm breaking out. We made a couple pairs of plain socks. Now I think we're gonna start playing with color because it's so much more fun to like work a whole ankle, and like when I knit a sock, I'm already looking forward to doing the heel portion because that's like the most fun to me right now, because you kind of have to stop and do something new and like think about what you're doing, and you work flat most of the time. So I'm just like loving the heel portion of the socks right now, and changing color makes it even better. So I think the next time I do this, I'll probably do like the cuff, the heel, and the toe a different color, or like, yeah, we'll see. I'm definitely excited to play with color though. I did finish the other one, but you'll have to watch the video. It'll be the next sock video on my channel, so subscribe. Oh yeah, and I started knitting this crazy vest. I'll put a picture of what it looked like when I started, but it is not here at my studio. It's at my apartment, so you'll see that in another video at some point. It's just made with, like the crappy yarn from scrap that I found, and it's just like this crazy color black rainbow vest that I'm working on just for fun. So that's my other whip, and then that's it. Those are my only whips. Okay, and then last night at work, I was making tiny hangers. So I put, this is a sweater I made a while ago. Oh, I think I made a video about this too. There's like a making tiny sweaters video on my channel. So I put a little hanger on it so it can be hung on the wall now. This is what it looks like. It's made from a paper clip. Pretty cute, right? Except I was having trouble like bending the very end of it. So there's a little pokey part right here. So I either need like someone to help me snip it off or bend it back. But it's pretty cute, right? I think these look like really, really cute. I'm hyped to like make more tiny sweaters now that I have a tiny hanger and I can hang them all in a tiny rack. Okay, that was it for finished objects, whips, and then like my random little hanger thing. Now I'm gonna talk about the yarn that I acquired from Seattle, Portland, and Scrap. Because it was a lot. Well, it was you'll see. What I got in Washington was actually just this. I just got this yarn, and I also got my tiny circular needles when I was in Washington. Oh, actually, I bought one more. I forgot because I haven't had this with me. I like mailed this home. But I also bought a tiny hank, and I wound it into a cake already. And it's it's from another like Washington yarn person. I only wanted like local yarns when I was in Washington and Oregon. I was like, I can get like this yarn if I can get it on the internet. Well, I mean, you can get local yarn on the internet, it's just not local because you're not there. I did get Kelborn Woolens too, but I don't even know where Kelborn Woolens is from, but I don't think they're from Portland. Anyway, when I was in Washington, I also got this, and this is by Wedgwood Fibers from Seattle. The color is called Uranus, and it says, it has a little note. It says, "Hello, this fiber is hand dyed with acid fast food and professional dyes in my smoke-free dog and kid-friendly home." I thought it was gonna say free, my smoke-free dog and kid-free home, but it did not say that. My smoke-free dog and kid-friendly home. It is pre-washed before sale to prevent bleeding. Nice, love that. I'm always worried when I start to block something that like all the colors are gonna bleed together, which would be devastating, but also interesting. Like, imagine if all the colors of my mood sweater had bled all over each other. I probably would have cried a lot, but I wonder what it would have looked like. Anyway, and then it says, it is pre-washed before sale to prevent bleeding, but some darker, richer colors may have some slight color runoff. So, I don't know. It says, it's superwash, extra fine merino and nylon, fingering weight, 20 grams, 87 yards, all that good stuff. Yeah, so this I'm excited to use. I'll probably just use it as like a cuff, toe, heel, something like that. Or maybe, I don't know. I could use it for whatever, anything. There are endless possibilities. Wow, I feel like such like a yarn nerd sometimes. So that's all I got when I was in Washington. I got both of those things from Acorn Street Shop in Seattle. And then when I was in Portland, I went to Ritual Dyes and I got the yarn from that sock that I showed you. I'm not sure what kind of yarn the ochre color was, but the purple yarn was their maiden sock yarn, and I bought another one of the maiden sock yarns. This color is called Cancer, and I haven't wound it into a hank yet, but it's so pretty. I love this. I also really like their tag. I think it's really cute, and it has little flowers on it. So cute. Yeah, this was 30 bucks. This is 2-ply twist fingering weight, 80/20 merino nylon, 400 yards and 100 grams. Pretty. They had a really nice shop. They had so many good example sweaters hanging on this rack. It said what the pattern was and what the yarn was. They had so many beautiful sweaters on this rack in the front of the store. I like wanted them. Like I wanted to make all of them because they were so pretty. And the yarn was right there. It was in the store. But I didn't do that. I just bought sock yarn because yarn's expensive. And now that I'm into socks, it's actually making things easier because I can just buy one instead of like 6 to make a sweater. But we're still gonna make sweaters on this channel. We still love sweaters. I actually have a sweater in mind that I want to knit. I don't know if it's by Hip Knit Shop. I think that's what it's called. Or if it's by like someone else and it's sold at Hip Knit Shop. I think that's what that shit's called, but I just found it the other day. I found it on Instagram and it is this strawberry sweater. I really want to make that. I think it's so cute. So that might be one of the next sweaters that I make. Although I am also plotting some of my own designs to release soon. But back to the yarn haul. And then when I was in Portland, I also bought a few of those Kelborn Woolens mini hanks from Starlight Knitting Society. They had like a little basket full of mini hanks. So I was kind of going, I wanted to go crazy, but I held back and I just bought the neons. So I actually bought 2 of the green ones, but I started using it with the Linea Sock, this bright pink. And then I bought this charcoal because I feel like sometimes I want like a charcoal or a black and I don't ever buy like, it's not a boring color, but you know, these are so fun. So I'm usually drawn to stuff like this, but then when I'm knitting something, I'm like, wow, I wish I had some like black. So I could add like a black cuff or charcoal or like some beautiful neutral. So I thought I might want this at some point. And then when I was in Portland, I went with my friend to this place. It was like a big vintage warehouse. The warehouse contained vintage things. And I think it was called the Memory Bank, and it was like a bunch of vendors in a warehouse selling things. And I actually got a sweater that I have here. I got from the Memory Bank, I got this sweater. Okay, it's really just like a basic blue sweater. I think it might be hand knit. It doesn't have any tags or anything on it, but it had these really cute floral buttons. And I just like the shape, like it was super simple. Let me button it so you can see. And what I was thinking was that this would be a great sweater to do some embroidery on. And I don't know where I got this idea. Like I probably saw it somewhere. Like, do any of us have original thoughts? Like probably not. I think I saw this somewhere, but I can't remember where. But this is the sweater. And I was thinking it would be so pretty to like take mohair and like do some like big mohair embroidered flowers on it, something like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this, although I do like it just like plain with these big buttons. So I got that from the Memory Bank, and then I also found a vintage vendor there who had some yarn, and I bought these. This is Super Mohair, made in Italy, expressly for Meyer and Frank, Portland. It's mohair wool nylon. So I got this one, and then I got two of these. I think they only had one of these like Kelly greens, or else I would have gotten two. And then they had a bunch of these, but I was like, save some for someone else. So I just got two of these. I don't think it says the color name. It just says color number. So this is 549 and this is 18. So I'm really into mohair right now, and I might be able to use these to embroider on that sweater. These were like, I think these were like $5 each, which is pretty good, right? That's all I got from Seattle and Portland. And then when I got home, I went to Scrap and I bought more yarn that I don't need, but I could not resist. What I got from that epic yarn sale they were having at Scrap, I got some sock yarns. I got this sock yarn. This is, or no, actually this isn't sock yarn. This is Mad Tosh sport weight yarn, and I like ripped the tag off trying to see what it was. It's wool, silk, cashmere. Sport weight, so pretty. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Probably make some socks, some chunky socks. And then I got this, which is, I haven't heard of this brand before. I think it's Koigu Wool Designs. And oh yeah, and then let me just tell you, this was $10. So this is really good for Mad Tosh yarn. I think their yarns are usually like 30 bucks because they're all like dyed by hand. So 10 bucks, good deal, I think. These were 16 for both, and that was like an okay deal because these are like half hanks, so I would need both to make one pair. These are, oh, these are actually 100% merino wool. There's no nylon, but it is like nice twisted yarn. Like, I don't know. I'm still learning, so, but it's like twisted the way sock yarn looks twisted. And I've heard the twisted sock yarn is the best. And I feel like based on the socks I've knit so far, I have liked the twisted yarns the most. What was I looking for? Oh yeah, the yardage. 175 yards. These are 175 yards each. So I would definitely need both to knit one pair of socks. So this was 16. I don't know if that was like the best deal, but it was probably a good deal-ish. This is probably like at least $25 to $30, right? And then I got another one, same brand, same yardage. Let's see if it's the same content. Yep, merino wool. This is like a cobalt sapphire color, and I'm gonna use these for my special birthday sock video, which will be part of the 52 weeks of socks series. I'm just gonna knit them in my birthstone color. Not my idea. The idea was given to me by one of my lovely commenters, so thank you for that. And yeah, that whole video is your idea. I appreciate you. Okay, and then they also had some other yarn besides sock yarn. So they had even more sock yarn than this, and I was like holding myself back. I was like, you gotta leave some for someone else. You cannot buy all of this yarn. So I bought that sock yarn, and then I bought a couple more things. They had Wool and the Gang yarn. Wool and the Gang yarn. This is the Feelin' Good yarn in brown sugar. This is the yarn that I used to make my cable knit vest that I talked about in my first Wuzzy Knitting podcast about releasing that pattern. And I'm still planning on releasing that pattern. It's just like taking a little bit longer to finesse the pattern. But I saw this yarn and I was like, oh wow, that's the yarn that I use. Like I should just get this and knit another one to test my pattern before I have testers test my pattern. That's why it's taking so long, because I wanted to test it before I gave it out to everyone else, just to make sure it made sense, you know? Because knitting can get confusing. So this had 4 of these, and I think these are like $12 on the Wool and the Gang website, but I'm just going off memory. And this bag was $22. So I think that was a pretty good deal. That's at least like half off, right? And then they had more Wool and the Gang. They had these 2 balls of, what is this, like the big sexy wool? I don't know. It doesn't actually say. I thought that this wool was called like big sexy wool or something. It's like the super bulky wool that I feel like they're kind of known for at this point. And these 2 were $25, and I don't know how much they are on their own. So hopefully I got a good deal, but what's done is done. And these are in the color Lipstick Red. And then I got some more Mad Tosh yarn. These actually don't have any labels on them, but these are all in the same bag. So there are 2 hanks and then a cake and then another cake in a light pink. So this is what was in there. And it says, crazy bargain, Mad Tosh, $30, lightly sun bleached. And I was like, I'll take lightly sun bleached for $30, what? So this is 100% merino wool, bulky weight. These are each 110 yards, assuming that these cakes are full cakes. And what was the other thing I wanted to know? Oh, well, the original price isn't on here, but I feel like these are expensive too. These are like at least 20 bucks each. Like there's no way these are less than $20 each. And I got this whole thing for 30, so that seems like a good deal. And then I don't know what this tag is from, if it's from the dark one or the light one, but it says Coquette Dew 341, so that might be one of the colors. And there's only 4 of these. They're, what, 110 yards each, I said, so I'll probably make like a vest or balaclavas when it's balaclava season. It's coming up. It's right around the corner. We love balaclava season. Or like knit hood season, if it's not covering your face. And then I got another bag of yarn, and I wasn't sure what this brand was. It's called Filatura di Crosa Love yarn, I guess. This is just written on a tag. And I don't think any of these have labels on them, but it's wool, mohair, acrylic, poly. And this, I got all of these for 15. So there's this gray one. I think this is different because this is so much chunkier than the other ones. Like, look at that. This is definitely something different, but it was in the same bag. So I got this gray, slightly darker gray. This pea soup green was also in the bag. And this, oh, look, here's a label. So that's what the brand looks like. And these are made in Italy. It's exactly what I said. Wool, acrylic, polyamide, mohair. These are 110 yards each. So this is a blue color. Shade is color 7, according to them. There was also this bubblegum pink. Obviously not, well, I mean, I don't think this is a full ball, but We will never know because I'm not going to weigh or measure this. Here's a sky blue. This is color 13. Yeah, that was it that was in that bag. So it was these five for 15 bucks. Pretty, I think that's a good deal. But again, I have no idea how much these cost regularly, but I'm assuming they're more than like, what would that be? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. More than like $2.50 each. So either way, I saved a tiny bit of money. I think that was everything that I wanted to cover in my Fuzzy Wuzzy Knitting podcast for the week. I am going to be knitting a ton of socks this month, as I mentioned in my last sock video. I'm working my way through that book, and I'm doing a test knit for James Watts for his Granny's Attic socks. I'm gonna get the yarn for that today. And then I'm knitting a pair of socks for my tattoo artist, and I think I'm gonna knit them like a pair of scrappy socks, like scrap yarn. They have a really small foot. They have like size 5.5 foot. So I think it would be fun to do like some scrappy rainbow or bright colored sock. And then, yeah, I think that's it. I was like tempted to buy that strawberry pattern and the yarn this month for my birthday as like a birthday present to myself, but I've kind of already bought myself quite a few things for my birthday. I bought this epic vintage sweater from this person on Instagram. I forget what their Instagram name is, but I'll put up a screenshot of their Instagram. Their name is Eleanor, and they have like a ton of vintage sweaters. That's like all they have on their Instagram. And they're like the most epic vintage sweaters with like crazy like flower motifs and like, I don't know, they're just like so cool. Like I wonder where she gets all of these sweaters. But she posted this one and it had a house on it, and it was mohair, hand knit, and I was like, wow, that's a pretty epic sweater, and I love an epic sweater. And so I messaged her and I was like, do you still have this? And she said yes. And so I thought to myself, well, I'll just get this as a birthday present to myself, in addition to like other things I've purchased for myself. But that's the benefit of being a grown-up. You can buy yourself as many birthday presents as you want. That's it for this Fuzzy Wuzzy Knitting podcast. This is like way longer than I thought it was gonna be, so I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk for however long this video is. If you are keeping track of the yarns that I showed, let me know like any color combinations you think I should do. Like, what do you think I should do with this yarn? It's just a single hank sport weight rainbow. Like, I'm totally down to make this into a pair of chunky socks, but if you have other ideas, let me know. Let me know what you are knitting down in the comments, or any new cool yarn you've acquired recently. I'm really into yarn right now. Like, I've been into yarn and knitting, but like, I think it's because I'm into socks. I think it's because I'm into socks right now, so it's like unleashed a whole new world of yarn for me. Because I used to kind of avoid, or not avoid, but I just would kind of skip over the sock section because I was like, well, I would need like 10 of them to make a sweater, and I don't want to make a tiny fingering weight sweater. So I just like didn't really look at the sock yarn, and now I feel like I've unleashed like a new beast within myself of like being able to just go to the sock section and buy one to make a pair of socks, because then I'll buy like 4 and that's like $100. Why was I talking about this? Oh yeah, so let me know of your favorite like epic indie brands for sock yarn. I recently found one called Junk Yarn, and they have like Barbie themed and like just like really cool colorways. I'm like always so intrigued by the really bright crazy colorways because they look so nice in hank form, and like I'm very curious as to see what they look like knit into a sock or knit into something, because sometimes I think they look kind of wild, and I haven't really like explored the world of like crazy yarn like that yet, and I kind of want to. I was with one of my friends at Starlight Knitting Society, and I picked up one of the junk yarns, and I was like, this yarn is so cool. It's like neon pink and like neon tones of neon pink and like black and white, and like I guess that would be for like a vanilla sock, because we learned our lesson with the vervain sock and using crazy space dyed yarn with a lace pattern. So wow, I just like I think I used like a burst of energy just talking about sock yarn for a minute, and now I'm like out of breath. Thank you for watching my Fuzzy Wuzzy Knitting podcast, and I'll post another one when I have more things to show you. Subscribe if you're into socks and knitting and chatting and blabbering, and that's pretty much all we do on this channel now. We knit socks, we make weird shit, we buy too much yarn, and we blabber. I'm gonna go work on my Una sock, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.